Let's just dive right in, because today's explainer is taking us on a seriously fascinating journey, about 2,500 years back in time to be exact. We're digging into a text called the Vanijja Sutta. Now you might be thinking, okay, what on earth can a text that ancient possibly tell us about today's wildly complex global economy? Well, honestly, prepare to be surprised. What we've got here is a remarkably concise, laser-focused framework that poses these completely timeless questions about commerce, ethics, and basically how we choose to make a living. It's an ancient rulebook, sure, but as we'll unpack today, it honestly feels like it could have been written yesterday as a direct critique of modern supply chains. So, let's get right into the core of it. The text opens with this exact line, translated here by Thanissaro Bhikkhu. Monks, a lay follower, should not engage in 5 types of business. I really want you to just sit with the directness of that statement for a second. There is zero ambiguity here, no hedging at all. It doesn't say, hey, maybe try to avoid this, or it might be a bad idea to get involved in. No, it is an absolute, uncompromising boundary. And, when you're looking at ancient philosophical texts, finding something this incredibly straightforward is just thrilling. It sets the stage perfectly. We're talking about business, and we are talking about strict, non-negotiable limits.
Part 1. The Vanijja Sutta Context, Navigating the Ancient Texts.
Before we actually reveal what those 5 prohibited businesses are, we kind of need to understand the immense historical weight of what we're looking at. I absolutely love the organization of these ancient Buddhist canons. It's literally like a giant puzzle. To actually find the Vanijja Sutta, you have to drill down through this massive nested architecture of literature. First, you start way up top with the Tipitaka. That's the vast collection of all the teachings. Within that, you zoom into the Sutta Pitaka, which is the specific basket of discourses. From there, you open the Aṅguttara Nikāya, and here is where it gets incredibly cool. The Aṅguttara Nikāya is organized numerically. So, because the Vanijja Sutta is a list of exactly 5 rules, it's filed away perfectly in the section known simply as the Fives. Specifically, it's labeled AN 5.177. It's basically an ancient, foolproof filing system that made sure this tiny but incredibly powerful teaching wasn't lost to history.
And just to bring it into our modern era for a moment, the specific text we're analyzing in this explainer was translated from the Pali language by Thanissaro Bhikkhu back in 2001. Today, it's preserved for us by the Bahrain Center for Buddhist Studies on their Access to Insight platform. It's always vital to ground our understanding in these specific modern translations because, as we'll see, every single word carries profound ethical weight.
Moving on to Part 2. Defining Wrong Livelihood. The rules for everyday people.
The word Vanijja directly translates to business or trade. So right off the bat, this sutta is fundamentally a discourse on commerce. In the broader context of these teachings, it frames specific trades within the concept of what's known as wrong livelihood. The crucial thing to grasp here is that this isn't some vague, abstract philosophical musing. It is highly, highly practical. It's a direct categorization of exactly what kind of economic engines actively create harm in the world.
And you have to notice this fascinating social dynamic playing out right at the start. Remember that opening quote, "Monks, a lay follower should not engage in." The audience physically listening to the teaching is the monks, but the subject of the teaching is the lay follower. The everyday people, the merchants, the farmers, the business owners. It's such an interesting dynamic. The monks who have literally stepped entirely outside the world of commerce are the ones being instructed on the exact ethical boundaries required for the people who are still operating within the economy. It really shows this deep interconnected relationship where the spiritual community is just keenly aware of the gritty economic realities of the everyday marketplace.
Which brings us to Part 3, the 5 prohibited businesses, the core teaching.
All right, we've seen the setup, we know the context, and we know exactly who this is meant for. So what are they? What are the 5 absolute limits of ethical commerce according to this 2,500-year-old text? Think of it as 5 equal slices of the economy that are completely off limits. Weapons, human beings, meat, intoxicants, poison. I really want you to just let the gravity of those specific industries sink in for a second. Notice there's no hierarchy given here. They are treated as absolutely equal divisions of wrong livelihood. They're fundamentally grouped together as trades that, at their core, generate suffering.
When we actually look at the specific wording drawn directly from Thanissaro Bhikkhu's translation, the rhetoric is just striking. Business in weapons, business in human beings, business in meat, business in intoxicants, and business in poison. That rhythm, the constant repetition of the phrase business in, is incredibly deliberate. It really emphasizes that we aren't just talking about a single isolated bad action here. We're talking about business, the systematic, ongoing, commercialized trade of these items. It's the institutionalization of harm that the text is targeting. So whether it's the tools of violence, the literal commodification of human life, the mass slaughter of animals, substances that cloud the mind, or actual physical toxins, these are the absolute ethical red lines of commerce.
And that takes us to part 4, the ethical lay follower, the final anchor of the text.
So the really crucial point here is how beautifully and neatly this text bookends its central argument. It concludes exactly where it started, saying, these are the 5 types of business that a lay follower should not engage in. It forms this complete, inescapable loop. It opens with the rule, lists the exact 5 parameters, and then closes by repeating the rule basically word for word. It leaves absolutely zero room for misinterpretation. It's designed to ensure that the lay follower, the everyday business person, knows exactly, without a shadow of a doubt, where the guardrails of an ethical life are actually placed. I want to leave you with this thought to mull over. Look at those 5 words again. Weapons, humans, meat, intoxicants, poison. How do these 5 ancient prohibitions challenge the way we view modern commerce and our massive global supply chains today? I mean, when you look at where your money actually goes or what your retirement portfolio is invested in, how many of these 2,500-year-old boundaries are we crossing every single day without even thinking about it? It's a profound mirror to hold up to our modern economic choices, and honestly, I think it proves that the most critical questions about how we do business truly are timeless.